enjoy today, and I hope we get enough good value in there to tide you over for missing a day.
Yeah, we could. You guys, should we do it tomorrow and we can just see how the stock market moves?
We could put one of my famous income trades on tomorrow that doesn't require the market to move. Might work out
Yeah,
really well.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, we are on a half day, Pete. Markets close at 1 p.m. Everybody. I went ahead and I posted that 60-minute income signal in Telegram. However, I didn't send options today because we are on a half day. I want to test it and see how it works. Essentially, while normally we hit our target in about the first 60 minutes of the day, sometimes it takes a little longer to play out. So with the day being 3 hours shorter, that means we have 3 hours less for it to play out like we like. So I don't want to just share it and force it with you guys. We're testing it on our side. We've got trades on, trades are rolling, but that's why I didn't send out the
You got to be
option.
close to target already, right?
Uh, let's see.
Although I guess you got in after the
30, we're up
15-minute breakup.
32%. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
a
So
little
you're
past
pretty
halfway
close.
there.
You're pretty
32.
close. Maggie, Lester, Stacy, Pat, Mike, Scott, Ronan got the sweatshirt. Awesome. Love to see that. Rosalia, Matt, Pete, Susan, RJ, Jolene. Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. SWAT. Hello, Laura. Uh, we can talk about that here today. Katura, Pete, Jim, hello, Faith, good
The chat's
morning.
open, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chat's open.
Yeah, if you guys want to make sure you are chatting to everyone, there's a little blue box right above where you're typing in the chat that to default says host and panelists. But if you just click that little down arrow and choose everyone, then you can chat to everyone. Everyone can see your chat. Joel, he was saying he did do a 60-minute trade, but he didn't send it out yet because, or he didn't send it out today because it's a half day, so it's a little bit of a unique scenario. He's in the testing phase. Normally, we're pretty careful about anything that's kind of outside the norm. So, Graham, I don't want to misspeak, but I think you're rolling live money, but you didn't send it out for
Yeah, I've got
everyone.
$1,000 in just like every day, but I didn't want to post it because we still are polishing this thing up and with a half day, different variables at play. Um, but I figured since it is National Bull Day, I had to get my trade on. But in the once we finally get it published, polished up, published, and for you guys, I'll send the options every single day. But I'll just attach a little note. Hey, today's a half day. Make sure you know that we don't have as much time on our side. Yeah, guys, flip your chat from host. A lot of people coming to host and panelists. That's just me and Nate can see it. If you flip it to everyone, and I can't show you because for some reason Zoom won't let me. Actually, you know what? I can do this, and I think this will be a good explanation. Does everyone see? Here's a chat of people chatting in right now. We're getting a lot of host and panelists, host and panelists, host and panelists. If you go, let me draw a little arrow right here. Bam. Flip that
Beautiful artwork.
puppy.
Beautiful artwork.
Flip that puppy to everyone, and we'll open this up so we can all chat and have a great time today.
Bob,
Nate,
Debbie, Rafi, hello.
Nate.
Ah,
Oh, well, sorry. What's that?
well, I was going to say iPad 109 said, mentioned AXP. That's the mistake I'm going to share with everyone today.
Oh
If you
no.
guys follow me in Telegram, does anyone not have my Telegram? Let me post that because I normally, if you guys are starting to do some more trading with me, you have some Telegram, you have some income machine trades that we've done together and stuff like that. It's really nice to be in my Telegram. Not that I update every single trade in there, but a lot of times I'll say, hey, if you have this or that, here's what I'm doing. So if you're not in my Telegram for some crazy, crazy reason, please click that and make sure you're in there. But yes, AXP. So that is the mistake I made yesterday that I want to share with everyone real quick. So let me do that first. And then I've got an IBIT trade I want to share as well. So,
Here, let me give you the screen.
okay. Let's start with this. And now, all right. Can everyone see my brokerage account?
Man, Nate, you got enough trades on?
Well, we've had a lot of income machine master classes, so that means a lot of active trading.
Dude,
This is
holy
just,
cow. Is that 14 grand within the income machine?
well, only
Oh, I
because
see.
of our dear friend AXP,
I
which I will
see.
mention
Full
here in a
exercise
moment.
section. Okay.
Okay. So, um, by the way, this is only the income machine trades. I've got about 10 other open trades this week. So we've been rolling a lot of trades.
Well, And I'm not gonna. I don't know what happened to AXP, but it looks like only one is down. Otherwise,
Well, yeah, and are you talking? Yeah, it's cost, right? I don't see it. Yeah, cost. Well,
yeah.
any easy yesterday, and cost is actually in great shape. I think the spread's just a little bit wide. Costs were still like
Okay.
$20 clear. So okay, so what happened is AXP today is the ex dividend date, and a lot of times on that ex dividend date, you'll get an assignment because they want to force you to pay the dividend versus them paying the dividend. Now, usually what I tell people is I don't really care. If they want to force me to pay the dividend and guarantee I get the full profit on the spread, no worries. I'll take it. So that's kind of my default response here. I've got a couple questions about this because your broker will tell you, hey, you might be at a higher risk of assignment or early exercise because it's the ex dividend date. And I always say, listen, I don't really care if they want to guarantee my full profit. I'll just take it, and then it'll come off the profit that I make on the trade. So that's my default. Now, what I should have done yesterday is close AXP anyway, even though I'm not worried about early assignment. In fact, I like early assignment because if you look at the calls here, I had the 285, 290 for next week, and AXP is at $327. So this was a perfect find by the income machine that has absolutely ripped since we took it. And on that $5 spread, I probably could have closed it for about $495 and got almost the entire value of the spread without even worrying about the assignment and just taking it off the table. So that was my mistake. I should have used a little more context. Busy day, live classes, all that stuff going on, all my excuses in the book there for why I didn't do a deep look at AXP. And so instead of closing it for $495, I got the assignment today. So I'll pay a little bit of a dividend back away from my profit. So let me talk about what actually happened. So if you guys can see here, I got assigned the shares of AXP. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that down there. And what I have offsetting that is I have my 285 call. So what happens here is I am being forced to sell shares of AXP at $290 a share because that was assigned to me here. If you guys can, hopefully my screen's big enough that it makes sense. You can see it. So I was required to sell shares of AXP at 290. But as I always tell you guys, that's a pretty good problem to have if you also own the right to buy shares at 285. Why? Because if you buy shares at 285 and you sell those same shares at 290, you just made a full $5 profit on that spread. So there's a couple things you can do here. Number one, a lot of times if you have a small account, your broker is just going to automatically exercise the other side for you, take away any margin issues, anything like that. And they'll tell you before you even look at it that they've made an action. Number two, you can call them and say, hey, this happened. Can you exercise the other side and handle this trade? And then three, if you're a little more comfortable, you can simply exercise it right from your brokerage. So right here, I have American Express. The 290 was already exercised for me. So I have these 500 shares short. And if all I do is come up here and right click on my call, this is in ThinkOrSwim, but most brokers function very similarly, and use this exercise button. All right. Again, I know my screen is a little bit small, but can everyone see the exercise button here? So I'm right clicking and then I'm going to exercise. When I do that, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up this screen that lets me exercise it. And it's going to exercise it, of course, at $285 because that is the strike that I own the right to buy AXP. Okay, so you're going to ignore the mid price and all that kind of stuff. You're going to use the actual strike and you're going to send this off. What it's going to do then is it's going to assign me or exercise me at 195 285 for the same shares that I'm selling at 290. So I send that off. Give it a second there. And what it's going to do is it's going to exercise those shares and then it's going to put them in here and that's going to balance out to be my full profit on the trade. By the way, you can see this is in my small account. So a lot of you guys might have this if you get assigned this T call, which basically means the broker is going to take care of it for you if you don't take care of it, because I did this in my, in my smaller account, and I already just got $164,000 worth of stocks or whatever. Okay. So does that make sense? Again, the mistake was with the trade already up at essentially a full profit there, I should have just went ahead and taken 98% of the value, not even worried about this. But the backup is if you do get a sign, you're going to be able to lock in your full profit. All right. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it inside your brokerage account, you can always just call your broker and say, hey, I want to exercise the other side. Okay. All right. Next thing. Let's talk about IBIT. So IBIT is Bitcoin ETF. That's BlackRock. It is BlackRock. Is it Vanguard or Black? It's BlackRock, right?
BlackRock.
Yeah. Okay. It's BlackRock's ETF for Bitcoin. And as you can see, we are rolling up fairly close to all-time highs. I don't really care about IBIT prices as much. I like the Bitcoin underlying price, because I think that 110K number is a psychological level here for Bitcoin. So I don't really care that it's 62.70 or 63. I just look at Bitcoin itself, and then I trade IBIT. So I think because we hit that 110K, got a little bit of a rejection off that, but I think we'll more than likely break back through. I want to give us a trade where if we do break above and we squeeze higher on Bitcoin / IBIT, or if we get totally rejected kind of back into the bottom of the zone here, that we can still make money. So this is what we would call a two-way trade. Either way, whether it breaks through and keeps ripping or it gets rejected. Oh, there you see my AXP exercise. So if let me move the stuff out of the way here. So now if I go back over here to the trade, you can see it already, here, let's see, go away. It already took it away. So it's not even open anymore. It already filled it and took those trades away. If you guys can see up here. Okay, so I want to get IBIT if it breaks through or if it gets rejected. This is what we would call a two-way trade. Now, the way that we set up a two-way trade, you can think of as a box. Some brokers would call this like a reverse iron condor or something like that. But what you're doing is you're basically putting a box around price. You're saying, listen, if we get a rip through and it breaks through these highs, I want to make money on that. And also, if it gets rejected and it comes back below something like 60, I want to make money on that. This is my dead zone. Okay, so you're playing movement here. A two-way trade for me is where you're playing a move in either direction and you kind of have a dead zone in the middle. And so the way that we do that is we do a call debit spread up here, CDS, call debit spread. And then down here, we do a PDS, a put debit spread. And either one, if it expires below or above, will give you a profit on the trade. Now, the math on this is really simple. If you're trading a $1 spread, then the max value is going to be worth $1 because it can only expire on one side or the other. So the max value is going to be $1 on a $1 spread. So what you need to know is that you have to get into both trades combined for less than $1 if you want to make money on a two-way trade or reverse iron condor trade, right? Because if the max value and expires below $60 here and you earn $1, but you paid 60 cents on one side and 60 cents on the other side, you have a problem because you just paid $1.20 between the two trades, and the most they can be worth together is $1. So you have to pay less than the max value on one side of the trade. All right? That's what we're going to do. If you're new to options, you're probably thinking, Nate, what are you talking about? Double spreads, values, ROIs. Hopefully, this will make more sense in the practical setting, but it's a cool kind of trade to get some base level understanding, and we'll try to do a couple more of them over the months here in Opening Playbook, because I think it's a good kind of trade to learn for special circumstances. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into trade, and we're going to go into IBIT. I'm going to remove my trade grid here, and we're going to go out 8 days. So we're going to look for over the next week, does Bitcoin either get a big breakthrough, a squeeze kind of above that 110K level, or a rejection and go lower? Now, remember, what we want to see here is we want to see a move that can pay out about $1, and we want to get into both sides for less than $1. So I'm assuming, I don't even know the numbers yet because I'm doing this live for the first time. I'm assuming we're going to need a several percent move, maybe a 5% move on either side to pull this off. So we probably are going to have to target, 64 to 65. So let's go ahead and take a look at it right now. If I change this from 64 to 64.50 to 64.65, that's a $1 spread, and we can get into this for 27 cents. All right. So what that shows you is that you're getting in for way less than the value of the trade, which means you have enough room to add on your other trade. Now, I'm actually going to go a little bit lower because that's actually pretty cheap, and I'm going to go to the 63.64 here. That's still only about 38 cents. So I actually like that a lot more. That's only about a 3% move on IBIT. Then this is the call debit spread. This is the top of the box. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to the other side. I'm going to create the bottom line of my box, and I'm going to look for a pretty similar price. So in this case, price needs to move about $2.40 to get above 64. Sorry, $1.40 to get above 64. So on the other side, I'm going to go for something similar. In this case, we could go for 162, and it's going to have to move about $1.60 on that side. So let's see if we do that. I'm going to click Control and add that side, and then I'm going to change this to $1 as well. What you can see here is that now I need a move. Let me actually go up here one more to 61.62. There we go. What I need here is I need a move of about $1.50 on either side. And the way to understand this is pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. Whichever two sides you're selling, create your box. Okay, so you guys can see I'm selling the $64 call and I'm selling the $61 put. That creates my box. I either need above 64 or below 61. Now, what you would do if you like this trade, you would put it in one ticket like this. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, looking at IBIT over the next 8 days, do I think it's either going to break above 64 or break back down below 61? This is our box. Do you like this box, or do you think it's going to stay inside this box? If you like it, then you take the trade that I'm doing. If you don't like it, then you wouldn't take this trade because you think it's going to stay inside the box. I think we'll probably get some momentum here and a move outside or a rejection, and so that's why I like this trade. So let me go ahead, type this one in the chat for you guys real quick here. This is a buy to open July 11th, $63 IBIT call. This is a sell to open July, sorry, I'm typing and talking, 64 IBIT call. Yeah, most brokers will call this a condor or a reverse iron condor. We're also going to buy at on the same ticket, open the July, and these are always going to be the same expiration date, by the way, guys, 62, put, and then we're going to sell to open the July 11, 61 put. Now notice the sell sides are what create your box. We're going to try to pay about 71 cents for this. Now this gives us about a 40 to 50% ROI potential, depending on exactly what you get filled. Because if you get filled at 71, you have about a 40% ROI. If you get filled a little bit lower, you have a little bit more. And so to me, these are the kinds of trades that I like in volatile markets on something like Bitcoin, where if it moves in either direction at a kind of a normal momentum ATR, I'm going to make 40%, even if I don't know what that direction is. And all we're looking for is a move above 64, because that's our sold call, or below 61, because that is our sold put. Pretty narrow box, only about a 2 to 2.5% box here on the upside, only about a 3% box here on the downside. So a pretty close box as far as a Bitcoin related asset is going to be. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get some contracts filled here. I'm going to throw it at 71 and see if I get filled. Always use a limit order for these guys. You don't want to use a market order when you got multiple legs in a trade. So I'm going to throw it together at 71 cents and see if I get filled. I'll be patient. I'll go up to 72 cents if I don't get filled here in the next 10 minutes or so. But this is what I would call a two-way trade. You could call a box trade where you're not picking direction. You're simply looking for a move. And the way that I like to do these are exactly like today. Like you get a big move into a key level and you think, listen, this stock is either going to break above or it's going to get totally rejected. You don't know which, but it has lots of volatility, so you can trade it in both directions. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm sure that's kind of a lot to a lot to take in if you're newer to options. But as you kind of learn the debit spreads, learn the trade structures, I think you'll get more and more comfortable with putting together trades like that. So there you go. That's in the chat. I'll also add it to our opening playbook VIP area here in 1 second.
Awesome stuff. I know that was a little more in depth, but thank you for walking us through that. For anyone curious, just about 30 seconds ago, my 60-minute income trade hit the target.
Oh, wow. You are on fire.
I know.
That's only one loss, right? Real money?
Only one loss, and turns out, again, we're still polishing it up. Turns out it should have been the other direction because we didn't have confirmation on both the SPY and XSP. If I waited for confirmation, we would have done calls and we would have been undefeated 8 for 8. So,
yeah, wow.
Not too shabby.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, Nvidia is ripping. It's totally bailing me out. I had a Nvidia Elite. I do it every week when it's in a high momentum cycle. That Nvidia Elite trade. I told you guys about it the other day, and then Nvidia just absolutely tanked earlier this week. And I was like, well, this one's going to be a loser this week. But now up 56%. What a rebound for Nvidia.
Yeah, I love it. We have an income machine play on Nvidia. We've got one on Apple. We've got, I mean, we are just roll. Oh, and we've got one on Bitcoin. Hey, anyone have? I just realized we have this Bitcoin IBIT income machine position from last week too. Dude, we've got a lot of good trades on right now. This is fun.
I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, only 11 trades on from the opening playbook. 8 of which are up, so happy about that. I've been posting that 60-minute income trade in my Telegram. Today I just sent a screenshot of the signal. And I asked you guys in Telegram, once we have it published up and we're gonna bring it out to the public officially, I do want to share that indicator with you guys. Let me just show you it real quick, how I have it set up at least. So you can see it. This will be, ignore the top screen. I just put them here at the bottom on my flexible grid here in ThinkOrSwim. Basically, we're monitoring the opening range of the markets because typically, I've shown you guys the stats, but typically when you get a move outside of that opening range, markets just, they have a continuation pattern, a natural continuation pattern that usually happens in the morning before noon, where you can see here buy calls, which means that it was bullish and we continued higher. Bullish continued higher. We've had days where it said bearish and we just continued lower. So we're just taking a basic trade here, right when it breaks above, setting a 50% target, and ideally getting filled before lunchtime on that exit. You can see here my SPX is still sitting here waiting to fill, but the XSP just hit, so you don't see the limit order there anymore. And that's essentially how it works with a high level overview. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, little buffer zones that we've polished up and worked. But Nate, we took it. We've been monitoring it since February this year. Since the start of the year, 86.9% win rate with a 50% target. So again, you're getting a really good return here. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder if this is a fluke. So I went into option Omega Nate and I take the same strategy, tested it for the last 2 years, 86% win rate. Then I said,
Dude, it's unbelievable.
What happens if I go last 5 years? 86% win rate. Okay, what if I take it all the way back to the inception of the SPX? 86.6% win rate.
It's super. I have to give you credit. Like I always say, like I'm the directional intraday trading. I really have not figured out. I'm math, statistics, defensive trades, and all of that. But you're basically doing that, with a directional trade,
right? Right, and it all started with a study that just said if the opening candle is higher in the markets, or if it's a bullish opening candle like here, they took the 30-minute candle. It said that there's a 76% chance markets finish higher that day. And I said, you know what? I bet you we can make some money on this. So we've been working it, making our own rules, We're using the 5-minute charts, not the 30-minute, and then using just a quick debit in either direction once we get the signal with the target. So today, hit already on the XSP in about 30 minutes or so. So I should call it a 30-minute income trade today. But we said 60 because, trying to average it out.
Gotta be conservative. Good question. A couple people asked about that iron condor, reverse iron condor, two-way trade, box trade, whatever you want to call it. I mentioned that kind of the dead zone is in the middle. What do you lose? Well, you just lose whatever you pay. So it's like a debit spread. If you pay 71 cents, that's your risk between all the positions combined. If you land, in between those two levels, they'll expire worthless in that situation, and you would lose whatever you pay, just like a debit spread.
So we did have another good question here in the chat. David said, "We're teaching you yesterday, win rate is not important as a profit made. How's the profit?" So here, so you guys can see, again, we started this back in February 18th. Been tracking it ever since. You can see the winners and losers, just a 50% target. Again, 86.9% win rate. Haven't put in today's winner yet, so it'll probably bump up to 87%. But David has a good point. That means nothing. But because we're getting an average return, a big average return each day, remember I said if you're, that trader who is doing 20% a week, crushed the person that was had a 99% win rate, we're doing a little bit better. We're doing 32% per trade on average, winners and losers. But the other thing is, we're not holding it for a week. This is every single day. We're averaging 32% a day right now. So you can see just since February, this is based on a 5K starting stake. I'm doing 1K positions right now. So this is if you took every trade with $1,000 flat, no compounding, up $27,000 since February. So what is that, about 4 or 5 months? $27,000 with just 1K starting out. So pretty remarkable stats. Actually, I had someone email me and yesterday and said that this may be the most profitable strategy they've ever seen. So
yeah, I mean the numbers are pretty incredible so far. It's got great blend of all the things that matter, because win rate matters when you combine it with risk reward. Risk reward matters
right.
when you combine it with win rate. So it's like that they all kind of work together in tandem, and so far that's quite a tandem that you've got there.
Yeah. How many do I do a day? It's just one every morning, just one a day.
Graham, would you mind taking 30 seconds maybe and walking them through the opening playbook VIP members area? We got a couple more questions about when we refer to the trades being posted and that stuff, where that's at.
I was about to do that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, today we're a little bit late to start this training, but I'm going to take you through the turn of the month trades where we look at the beginning of each month, which stocks Wall Street's rotating into or out of. The reason I wanted to do it again this month is because there's something special about July. It's not just any normal month, it's the start of a quarter. So whenever you pay attention to the first 3 days of the start of a new quarter, so that's January, April, July, what's next? October. Those are your important months. You can see here, if we break down the turn of the month investing strategy, the first month of the quarter is usually the very best, versus the other two are profitable, but it's the start of the new quarter that's really hot. So that's why I wanted to do it today here in this class. And I am going to do a whole training on it. I am going to give you guys scanners, ways that you can filter for these picks yourself. I'm going to build that for you. Normally we charge $500, $1,000 for something like that. We're doing it today in here for free. But if you want, you can keep the links and bookmark them yourself and keep track of everything we're going to do. But if you want to be in the members portal, where you have the recordings, the trade entries we take, so some of those trades Nate just gave, you can find them in there. The slide decks, there's so much more. Calculators, master classes, scanners, which I'll walk you through here in a moment. Do yourself a favor and just get access to the members portal by paying $1. We had to charge $1. We want to keep it as free as possible, but that's a lifetime price. You pay $1 now, you have this members portal forever. And inside here, you have pretty much everything you need, and we keep adding to it. Speaking of which, Nate, can you make a note right now to add in the compounding calculator, the strategy testing calculator? Get the full master classes. Here, we're going to go through these today, but I build scanners and I post them in here for free. So you can just come in here, click it. You can have the quick link to the scanner. So again, do yourself a favor if you haven't already. Click that link in the chat. $1. Not meant to be a trick price or anything. We just want to get you guys everything centralized in one location. Um, do we do we have to pay monthly? No, you don't have to pay monthly.
Well, you forgot to tell them we're going to auto charge their card for 997 as soon as they
No, no, no,
open.
no.
No.
No auto charges, no monthly
It,
payments. Again, we want this to be free. We had to charge something to get it in the members portal for a lifetime access. Lifetime meaning you pay once, never pay again. So I said, what's the lowest we can go? And they said, well, technically, we don't want to go below $5. I said, but what's the lowest we can go? They said, well, technically, we can charge $1. So I said, perfect. Let's set the price. Yes, I did. I don't know if I posted it with everyone. Here's the link. Again, it's just to do you, to help you guys out where you have everything centralized in one place.
and one of the bonuses you get in there too, that's just kind of a convenience thing, is we can send what they call official alerts, transactional alerts, if you will. So you get the alert every morning when Opening Playbook's live. So even if your like regular email is cluttered and that sort of stuff, the one-click trading platform has those alerts that remind you, hey, every day we're going live or this is what we're covering. So it's nice to have that too.
Absolutely. All right. We do have a couple questions about the $1 what a deal barbecue at Graham's house tomorrow. That's funny, Mac. Um, if you have under 25K, any day trading rules? Well, today I'm going to cover ones that we're going to hold for a month, so you don't have to worry about that there. We got a lot of questions about this. Wow. I was talking to Roger about this yesterday because Roger obviously has his trading pit and his trading zone where he does day trades every single day. And I said, what do you do when people ask, what about the pattern day trading rule if I have under 25K in account? And he said pretty much exactly what I've been telling you guys as well. The easiest way to get around it. So, like for me, with the 60-minute income strategy, I know I'm going to take about 5 a week, one each day. What I would do is I would have maybe my ThinkOrSwim account and then a Robinhood account. That way I can take a couple in one and a couple in the other and effectively have 6 day trades that week. So since you don't need a big account, you just break it into 2 accounts to get around that rule. Now, I think that's a lousy rule. I'm not a fan of that rule. I didn't set that rule. I wish we could change it. I don't know why we would restrict anyone from trading freely, like anybody, any Wall Street agent can do. But with that said, that's kind of the loophole around it. You just have 2 brokerages. And you can even, here's a little trick for you too. Like I love my Charles Schwab ThinkOrSwim account. I've got a couple brokerages in there. So I could have a couple money in one, flip over to the other, trade it in that one too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could with ThinkOrSwim. It's really nice. You have the drop down. You can have it all right there. You could literally have, you know, 5 accounts with $1,000 each. You can nickname one account Monday, one account Tuesday, one account. I mean, you could do a lot with
Right.
that. With just really easy in the drop down. Like that's how I do all my active trades in my smaller account. So that like you saw AXP, I got assigned in a smaller account, and then I have my main portfolio account just in a different drop down.
Right. And Gordon is right too in the chat. If you want to, you could just trade the futures instead and you avoid that rule. So if you wanted to, I don't give the trades out on it, but if you wanted to just trade the futures instead, it would be /ES, which is the E-mini S&P 500 futures market in ThinkOrSwim. But if you want to trade the options like I'm doing, I would just have me personally, I would just do 2 Charles Schwab's account because literally at the top, let me just show you, I can come up here and I can flip between my accounts.
Yep. And I do think I do think if as long as you have the cash and it's settled, you can take as many trades as you want. But they with spreads now they require more cash than they used to. So
Yeah. All right. So again, new month, new opportunities. Let's dive into this today. Let's dive in prepping for July, and it actually ends up perfect. That today is the third day of the month because as you'll see, that's typically we like to look at the first 3 days of each month to get a good idea of which stocks are trending higher and which ones are fading lower to start the month. Now we can't see Wall Street's hand. We can't see what they're buying and selling unless you're friends with Jamie Dimon. But we can get a good idea of which stocks are buying or which stocks they're flooding into or getting out of. So every month there's a market pattern known as the turn of the month investing, where essentially Wall Street is notoriously known for ditching losing positions and investing in new stocks. They're rotating their book and they're saying, all right, let's dump this loser. My wife and I, we do it every month. We say, what are our losers this month? Let's dump it. Let's get into something better. And also, This is a little extra cookie here. Most months, there's new money coming in as well from pension funds, 401ks, IRAs, mutual fund rebalancing, and more. So there's extra capital coming in too that they then have to allocate to stocks. And this is much more prevalent at the end of each quarter. Like I showed you, going from June to July, we're flipping from Q2 to Q3. We're going to see a lot more money moving. And that's why this month in particular is so good. So how can we piggyback on these new big investments from Wall Street for outsized gains each month? Well, typically I start with my usual market analysis. I do this for everything. So again, if you were here Tuesday, I covered all of this information basically saying that hey, markets hit all-time new highs. Not every stock did. However, we are seeing some strength growing as more stocks are flipping bullish than bearish on the 200 days percentage of stocks over the 200-day line. I also look at the seasonality. I've broken this down for you 100 times. It feels like first half of July is the most bullish time in the stock market. You can see it circled here and left in the blue. Averages a 2% return in about 2 weeks. First 2 weeks of July, and then the back half is also bullish as well. So we know seasonally this is a good month as well. And if we're looking at the presidential patterns, both of these lines, which one represents a returning president or all years of a new term, bullish in July. First year of a new term, so like we went from Biden to Trump. It's a new president in office. A little rocky to start typically, but still bullish for July. So this is what I told you guys on Tuesday. I said I think we're gonna get a healthy cool off, really just some chop this week and then higher. We have not gotten that. We've just gone higher. So maybe we'll just keep raging higher from here, but I do not anticipate a big pullback coming up anytime soon this month. I think this is a very bullish month, and I think it's a time to be looking for opportunity. So I also like to check the sectors too. And you know, we do this every single Tuesday. So if you're missing Tuesdays, you're missing a lot because this sets you up for the whole next week or two. And with those sectors, I like to see, break it down to each individual sector and then how they perform that month. So here's July, the average performance of each sector. You can see tech, normally really strong. Financials, normally really strong. Real estate, normally really strong. Now, I'm not messing with real estate right now. So much going on with so much volatility around the interest rates and what the heck's going to happen with inflation. But with that said, we can break that down and sort relatively which ones are the strongest and then match them up with their seasonal patterns to know which ones that we want to focus on. So Tuesday, I gave you technology, which has been red hot, communications, which has been red hot, industrials and financials as well, and then Bitcoin. You can't miss Bitcoin. But for the sectors, it's mainly these four for me. Now, for scanning the new stocks, I typically scan on the fourth trading day of the month. That gives us 3 full days of flows. Today, we are on that last day. So if you want to, go back to the members portal, get that $1 membership. And then Monday, go back, watch this training again, and go run that scan for yourself and get some new trades. So there's 3 things I want to look for my positions that I would take this month. And you can take 3 positions, or you can take 1, you can take 10. Uh, Obviously, that's totally up to you and what your capital allows for you. In my opinion, in my experience, if you take 1 trade, it's either going to hit or miss. If you take 6 trades, 2 might lose and 4 might win and net out you a nice 30% gain for the month. If you take 10 trades, you can smooth out that curve as well. But of course, you can take as many or little as you want. So, 3 things I want to look for. One, it has to be a large cap stock. I only look at the S&P 500. There's great trades in other stocks, but not really so much for this. Because if you think about it, a lot of money every single month is going into mutual funds that are just buying the S&P or buying the NASDAQ. That money then flows into the stocks allocated in there. So that's why I like to focus on large caps. I also like to avoid stocks that have earnings in July. Now, this might be tricky this month because a lot of our tech stocks do have earnings this month. So we're going to have to look at that and see if we have to avoid any. And then I also want to see basically what we're going to look at is stocks that are going higher over the last 3 days with increasing volume. I don't want it to be going higher because they just announced some big news event. I don't want them to, they just said we have a new CEO and that's why the stock popped. I want it to be a natural increase in the price with volume naturally flowing in, not some major market catalyst. So those are the 3 main things to keep in mind when we're looking at these stocks. And then for the bullish stocks, we want to see increasing price over the first 3 days. So something's pushing it higher. And then we also want to see that paired with increasing volume over the last 3 days. So essentially, transactions are flooding in and price is going higher, which tells us that that's probably big time buyers stepping in. So now we're going to get to the scanner and we're going to go find some of these trades together. And by the way, if you're curious, while I was given that spiel, my 60-minute income trade hit on SPX as well. So I'm out for the day on the 60-minute income trade with an extra 525 bucks. And I have to, my team let me know, and I'm just giving them feedback right now because we're trying to polish this up. So give me one moment and then we'll get to the scanner. All right, to the scanner we go. So here we are going to, let me resize this bad boy. Let's flip on over to the charts here. And in the members portal, if you need me to post that link again, let me know. If you come here, scroll down to where it says trading codes and scanners. This is where you're going to find it. Now, I'm just going to tell you to see all 5 items. You don't actually have to see this, but I want you to know this is a feature. And as we build more, you will want to do that. Otherwise, you'll only see the top 4. Um, people saying they can't see. Can you guys see my screen? Vladdy's 60-minute income trade is every single morning. Okay, you guys can see my screen. All right. So we're here in the trading codes and scanners, and we're going to look for the bullish money flow scanner. That's what we're looking for here. This is our monthly rotation trade. We're just looking for money flowing into stocks. And then we'll do the bearish one next. But I'm going to probably just stick with bullish trades. I might do one bearish one to kind of hedge myself. All right. So we've clicked here. If you don't already have it installed, there's 2 things you can do. One, you can just copy this short link, and then you can go to ThinkOrSwim. Up here in the top right. Oops, where did my chart go? All right, here we go. It's back. Set up, open shared item. Just paste that link in there. I've already done it before, so I'm not going to import it, but you would just import it, and then you'd come over here to your watch list, and you'd go find it. So I've already done it. I'm not going to do it again. But again, click import, and then what you do is come over here to your watch list. Let me just close some of these. Make it a little cleaner. Watch list, and I'm going to click this part here, personal, and inside here, you should see money flows bullish. Now, if you want to do it manually, if you'd like to manually install that code, let me go figure out where the heck I put that. There we go. You can come here, click this link, and then it's a Google Doc that I made where you can copy and paste this in to manually install the code. I'm going to post both here in the chat right now. I'm not sure if that will. I'll have to. Nope. Here, let me send this one. All right. So let me. Oops. I got a couple big texts in here. Let me just post this again for you guys. Again, the easiest way is just to use that short link. It'll automatically populate in your Thinkorswim. But if you want to use the manual code, feel free to do that. And I wanted to give you the manual code because Ladan, for example, is asking, he has interactive brokers, doesn't have Thinkorswim, does it work in interactive brokers? This code probably does not work in interactive brokers. However, if you take that manual code link I gave you and simply go to ChatGPT, paste that code in and say, can you create this same code for interactive brokers? It will do it in about 30 seconds. If you have TradingView and you say, can you make this same exact code in PineScript for TradingView? Ask ChatGPT, it will do it in about 30 seconds. It's really amazing. It's really good stuff. So that's why I wanted to make sure you have the manual code so you can just go to ChatGPT and essentially translate it to whatever program you're using. But I use Thinkorswim, so I'm going to stick with Thinkorswim for now. And it looks like, obviously, we've had a great start to the month. Looks like we have a lot of stocks hitting our filter. Let me just go ahead and make sure that we are looking at, yep, S&P 500. All right, wow, we got a lot this month. Let me just make sure they're optionable. I should be able to, oh, intersect. No, it should be right here. Wait, what am I missing? I've done this 100 times. Should be able to find a button that says only ones with options, which I assume most S&P stocks have options. Huh. Wow, I have done this so many times. There should be a button in here that says only ones with oh, here we go. It's right at the top category. All right. Wow. All optionable. I'm just going to do that just to limit this down a bit, which I don't know if it's going to move because these are all S&P stocks. Now, what we want to do, and let me go ahead and add volume back on my chart here. Just to confirm, what we want to do again is we want to see price going higher first 3 days of the month. We don't want to see earnings. I want to see I preferably want to see a good trending stock. You could take a stock like this and it might squeeze and make some crazy move. Preferably, I want to see good stock, good sector, like I told you with my analysis. So I'm just going to flip through these here. This looks like a news. Let's go ahead and I can flip here to news. No news today. I wonder why this thing's up huge. 3%. But I want to just see a normal looking stock. Like this one actually looks really good. I'm not huge in the cruise lines right now, but this is one that's been chugging higher. You can see volume ticking higher. I have Newton here. Newton's ticking higher. Norwegian Cruise Lines, although it's not in my preferred sector, it's consumer discretionary. That one could be good, but we got so many options. Let's not settle. All right. I like this one. Let's take a look. Citigroup, we're looking at increasing average volume. So you can see this ticking up, money's coming in, momentum's picking up. I like Citigroup a lot. It's a financial stock. Financials is one of my top sectors, but we are going to run into this problem. Like I mentioned, earnings coming up. How do I get Newton lower? That's a paid product. We sell it for, I think 600, 700, 800 bucks. But it's paid. I built it myself. JP Morgan, a similar stock. Earnings coming up. So, oh wow. Earnings on Citizens Financial Group. All the bank stocks are going to have earnings. We might have to take one with earnings. And I can probably, oh, here we go. Like this is a cruise liner that's way better than Norwegian. Carnival Cruise Line, look at this. Definitely increasing average volume, increasing momentum, price increasing for sure to start the month. So cruise liner could be a good one. XP has earnings. All right, let's see what we got here. You can probably skirt around this. Information technology. Let me just write this down. JP Morgan, Citigroup, because we might take one that has earnings and just hold through it. I'm gonna do a spread, so we're gonna offset that time decay. LVS. This has got to be discretionary. Yeah. AXP, which is the one Nate was just talking about, it looks really good too, but it has earnings. So I'm just going to include them in my list here. I'm typing a list. I will send it to you once we're done, but just know that a lot of these do have earnings. Generac. This is going to be a industrial. We like industrials. Generac has money flowing into it, momentum increasing, price increasing. It's above the 200-day moving average. Earnings at the end of the month. We're going to work with the options on it to look for a way to make money on it before that. So I'm going to add that to my list. Essentially, what I'm doing here is just trying to build a short list. Capital One, my goodness. Let me see what Citi looks like. Citi and Capital One both look about the same. Those financials are red hot. Essentially, what I'm doing here is just trying to build a short list of the stocks that I'm most interested in trading. Ford Motor Company. Can't say that one is on my list. It's been a pretty bad stock for a while, but if you look here, if we look way back, if it breaks this $12 mark, just write down Ford right now, guys. Not because it's one that I might trade this, honestly. Let me add Ford here. Not because it's one that's been on my list for a while, but if we get a close above 12 here, we're going to probably see a quick gap fill opportunity to 13.5. Now that might not sound like a lot. That's a buck 50, but on a $12 stock, that's almost a 10% move. So definitely write down Ford. This is actually a pretty prime example. And volume increasing, and look at this price action to start the month. All right, we'll keep going. I've got my list growing a little bit. Bank of America, all the bank stocks are amazing. Hopefully you guys bought the dip on those. Lulu, love the stock, but not right now. All right, we're almost to the bottom of this. Oh no, we're not. Holy moly, this is a big list. I told you guys, July is red hot. MGM looks like a good chart for the short term. Oh, now this one I'm probably going to do, and not because it's a pretty trend. Let me get Apple on the list. We're definitely doing Apple. The reason I like Apple right now is for a multitude of reasons. it's an apex entry. It's a perfect Apple entry. They're having not crazy news, but just positive shifts in their business. And you can see here, money is flooding in. Momentum's turning positive for the first time in a while. It's in the tech sector. It's been a laggard for a while. You can see this. They have had no big AI breakthrough. They've been behind the curve. Apple should be looking like Microsoft right now, but it's not because it's been waiting or it's been lagging behind. However, I think this chart is going to quickly turn into that Microsoft chart. I really believe that. So much that I made Apple my top stock holding this week. I sold a couple different stocks and I went all in on Apple because I really like what I'm seeing right now, even though the overall trend hasn't been absolutely perfect. All right, we got a good bulk of stocks here. Honeywell, it's probably industrial. Yeah, industrial stock. I like this stock. Does have earnings coming up. Let me just get it on the list here. There's a lot of stocks today. I'm going to have to flip through these quicker. All right, we got a good little list of stocks here. All right, we're at to the bottom. All right, here we go. A lot of these have earnings, so keep in mind, don't trade all of them. Also, I mean, JP Morgan, Citi, AXP are all financials. If financials go down, they're probably all going down. So we don't really want to go all in on one sector. Sorry, I just posted them in here now, Faith. I've been making a list on my end and then just shared them here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna filter down between the bank stocks I like the best. I'm probably gonna go with JP Morgan. They typically have the most liquid options. AXP, the one Nate just talked about, just had their dividend. Um, I'm gonna pick one bank stock. It's between JP Morgan, Capital One, and Citigroup for me. And I'm probably just gonna, like I said, I'm probably gonna stick with JP Morgan. So let me go ahead and slim this down a little bit more. What I'm doing here is just building a basket of stocks I like the best for this month based on the money flows. FFIV, yeah, that's a great one. Generac, we're going to end up with too many industrials probably. Honeywell looks just great though, but that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Ford, Apple. Nate, if you had to pick between FFIV, I would probably pick FFIV. Looks great. All right. I'm going to take Generac and Honeywell out of here just because I'm just going to take 4 trades this month to walk you guys through them. So here's my final list of stocks that I'm going to trade this month. And Ford is kind of the wild card here. It's seeing this money flow happen. You can blatantly see this. It also has an opportunity to gap fill from 12 to 13. They do have earnings later in the month, but let's go ahead and flip to the options chain. And what you can do now, couple of different options you can do, no pun intended. You could look and just buy the next month's expiration, buy the call. So if I was trading forward, I would look to come here and buy. I'd probably buy the 12 strike call. I think these could pay handsomely. So I looked at the 15th of August, 12 strike basic call. It's going to have some time decay baked in, but again, we're looking for a good big move this month, in which case this has a chance to run 100, 200, 300% realistically. Now that's not going to happen every time, but with the basic calls, you do have unlimited upside. However, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and sneak ahead of their earnings event. So their earnings event's the last day of the month, and I'm going to do what I call an elite spread, or Nate calls a jump trade, just a slightly out of the money debit spread. And this one's a monster. Let me see what the 12.5 looks like. All right, I'm going to go a little bit riskier on Ford. So let me go ahead and pull up that trade sheet again. Um, Opening Playbook. In the Opening Playbook members portal, we post these trades every day, so you can go back and review them. Let me go ahead and come here, overwrite what Nate did. We'll do bullish money flow, and then we'll do one bearish one later. First one on Ford. Let me get rid of this. I'm going to buy the 25th of July 12 strike call. I'm going to sell the 25th of July 2025 expiration 13 strike call. This is an out of the money spread. We do need Ford to move to hit our profit here. So if Ford, and this is why I'm doing it, if Ford actually does fill this gap, so it'll be well above 13 by the end of the month, I'm going to make an insane amount of money. Let's go ahead and look. 22 cents right now. Max profits $1. I'll make about 320%. Just some top head math here. Let's go ahead and see. 1 divided by 350% return on investment if Ford moves. If you want to be more conservative, just shift slightly more into the money. But I'm gonna go for broke on this one because Ford looks like a hit or miss stock for me. 22 debit, 354% max ROI on this trade. Here comes the first one. Ford's coming in the chat for you guys. That's the first one I'm taking. Next one we're gonna do. Let me just list these in the doc here. JP Morgan and FFIV, which might have some illiquid options. If we don't like the options on FFIV will probably switch to Honeywell. And what was the other one? Apple. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm working the trade sheet here. Let's go ahead and move over to JP Morgan. Like what someone noted in the chat, JP Morgan did hit all-time highs. It does have earnings this month. Every financial stock pretty much has earnings this month. I'm going to go ahead and hold it through earnings. And I'm going to say on this one, I would not use a call. I would a basic call. I would simply use a spread because we're going to be able to offset that earnings cost. Oh shoot, I did not place my trade up forward. Let me go ahead and send this guy off. 22 cents. Get close to $100 on that one. All right, JP Morgan does have earnings this month on the 15th. Like I said, I'm going to hold it through earnings. I don't expect a massive move on JP Morgan. I mean, just look at previous earnings events. It's not a stock that typically moves crazy on earnings, probably about 2%, 3%. So here's another earnings event, no move. So again, I don't expect anything crazy on earnings. It's not like we're trading NVIDIA earnings here, but I am going to expect this stock to grind higher this month. And let's go ahead and see. This is perfect for me. So on JP Morgan, I'm going to do what I call a wrap order, which just says, I bet you it's going to finish higher this month, about $5 higher. Gain a little under 2% this month. If it gains about 1.7, a little less than that, 1.6% this month, I will hit 100% return on investment with JP Morgan. So again, I'm going to use the closest to the end of the month. We can actually go into August if you wanted to too. Let's see what this is priced at. I'm going to do the 25th of July. July's red hot for us. Oops. I'm going to buy the 295 call. And I'm going to sell the 300 call. This is currently trading at 248. Well, I'll just call it 250 to make it a nice nice round even number. I'm going to call it 250. Set your limit order at 248. Might as well make some extra money. But basically, this one has the opportunity to go to $5 by the end of the month if JP Morgan gains a little less than 2%. It's 100% return on investment here with JP Morgan. So let me go ahead and post this one in the chat for you guys as well. I'm sorry, I'm not able to keep up with all the chats right now, but let me go ahead and get the mid price here. Ship this one off. Next up, filled right away at 248. And just visually for you guys, just so you can see, I need JP Morgan. What's cool about these trades is we're betting on the stocks to go up because the money flow happening. It just needs to get above the crosshairs there. So it doesn't need to keep a parabolic trend. It just needs to drift in the direction it's already headed. Just a quick follow through. All right. Next up, we have FFIV, and I have no clue what the options are going to look like on this one. Cool looking stock, and no weekly options. Let me see. This one we can actually use the monthly expiration to get ahead of earnings. I don't know how this stock typically responds to earnings. Big earnings mover. So this is one we definitely don't want to hold through earnings. So this may work out okay for us. So essentially, we're going to give this stock 2 weeks to make a move. And let me check out the strikes here. This one's already moved. 310, that's about 3%. Let me just visually check this out. That's a pretty steep move there. I might switch to Honeywell instead of FFIV, but FFIV is a good one. Sorry, what was everyone? Oh yeah, Ford was the ticker. Thank you guys for helping out. This open chat's awesome. FFIV, I don't like the options as much. If you wanted to, this would be the only one to take. Buy the 290, sell the 300. Problem is, the price is already almost at 300. which can be cool. I mean, the thing could go nowhere all month and you're going to make a nice 60, 70% return. But I want to go for the bigger, juicy return. So let me switch over to Honeywell, take a look at this chart, breaking out earnings on the 24th. Again, this one is also a big earnings mover typically. So I'm going to try and slide in before earnings with the 18th of July expiration. Let's take a look here. And this is going to be perfect. I'm just going to make a bet that Honeywell, which is up 0.5% today, I'm going to bet that this stock, which is seeing money pour in right now, is going to gain at least another 0.5%. Not tomorrow, not over the next 2 days, over the next 2 weeks. I don't need this thing to barely move. Just need it to be where my crosshairs are here. And if so, I'm going to make 100% return on investment. It can go way up here. It can chop around and go nowhere. But as long as it's above this crosshairs, as long as it makes another 0.5% move, should be good. Let me go ahead and type this one up for you guys. Then I'll post in the chat. Honeywell, we're going to buy the 18th of July. Make sure you select the 18th of July, not the 25th. Reason is they have earnings and they're big earnings mover, unlike JP Morgan. We're going to buy the 240 call on Honeywell, and we're going to sell the 242.50 call. You can buy basic calls if you want. I think this is a much better way to play, in my opinion. If you want to buy a basic call, I would just look for the August monthly ones, and then I would sell it before earnings. But for the spread here, let me go and type this up. It's trading at a 125 net debit, which means we can make a 100% return on investment if this stock gains a 0.5% over the next 2 weeks. There you go. Post it in the chat. I'm also adding it here to the sheet. So if you're in the members portal, you should be able to see it. It takes about 5 minutes delayed to update in the portal, but you should be able to see these start to pile in. Next, we're going to do Apple. And this one I might get a little more aggressive on. I really like Apple. I think it's going to play the big catch-up trade right now. Over the next month, it doesn't have earnings until the last day of the month, or maybe the 30th, 31st. So right at the end of the month. So I'm going to trade it with the 25th of July expiration. And you can go here at the money. That's all right. Let me go one strike out of the money. I'm going to probably get really aggressive. I really like Apple right now. Let me see what that 200-day moving average is at. 223 on the 200-day moving average. I bet you we're above it by the end of the month. So what I say, 223. So right here in these strikes would put us above the 200-day moving average. And this one, like Ford, I'm going to go for a whopper on this one. This one is going to pay 287% this month if Apple gains about $10 from here. That's about a 5% move, a little less than 5% move in the stock, maybe 4% move, which considering it already moved $15 this week, it's not going to be much for Apple to follow through another 10 over the next 3-4 weeks. This is one I really like. I might get a few of them. So let me type it up for you. I'm going to buy the 25th of July 220 call, and I'm going to sell the 225 call. This is out of the money. I need Apple to move here. I need it to follow through. If Apple gets to my crosshairs here, just simply drifting higher, at the same rate, I would need it about, at this steep of a curve. It's aiming here. I'm not going to play it for that. I'm going to give it a little more room to drift. Put it right about here. If that happens, I'm going to make close to 300% return on investment. So I'm going to buy the 220, sell the 225. Right now it's trading at 131 because Apple is moving and grooving. Again, I made this my top stock holding right now, so I'm a little bit biased. And if we're right, we're going to make 281% return on investment by the end of the month. So here comes Apple in the chat. I'm going to get 4 of those. So you can see here, ThinkOrSwim does some math. I'm risking $500 to profit 1,500. So I'm risking 500 to turn it into 2 grand here on Apple. Shipping that bad boy off, letting it sit. And so these are my 4 bullish trades for this month. Again, I gave you guys a couple different tickers. I give you guys more than this, but these I just slimmed it down to just the sectors we like the best, and then pick the options from there. So those are my bullish ones for the month. And if you want to, let's see, Sean, don't want to wait to touch the VWAP entry for Intrigant. No, I don't use the VWAP, Sean. I know somebody like Roger does, and he's very good at it. I look at price action and momentum, and that works for me, helps me make money. So that's what I'm focusing here on Apple. Because the problem with something like waiting for it to touch the VWAP, Sean, is you might be waiting for it for a pullback that's never going to come. You're going to be waiting, 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 and Apple can go higher and higher and higher. That's why I like to just, hey, if it's in high momentum, let's just ride it. All right. Let's go ahead and look here now on the bearish entries. Again, I'm only going to take one, kind of like a hedge. But if you go to the members portal, does anyone need a link for this? If you need a link, let us know. But let me just go to the home screen. When you log in, go to Opening Playbook, you'll see all this stuff. Again, trade entries. If you click there, you'll see those ones I just shared with you guys. So you can access them later today. But let's scroll down here to the codes. We're going to go bearish money flow scanner. Same process. Let me post this here in the chat. Good question on taking profits. I'll answer that here in a second. Here's for the bearish flows. All right. Bam in the chat. Again, this is in the members portal. If you don't have ThinkOrSwim, go to ChatGPT, copy, paste this in, and say, can you translate this into whatever platform you're using language? I can almost guarantee it's going to work. If not, copy paste this code into ThinkOrSwim, and you should be good to go. Let me get this screen out of here. And let me pull up my ThinkOrSwim again. And I'm going to fly through this one. I know I'm over my 1 hour allotted time, but I'm just going to flip my scanner now to the bearish. Only two on the bearish, and EA is one of them. I like EA. I don't really want to trade that one short. Market access. It's funny. This was a great stock back in the day. It's a financial. Don't know if I love it. Communication. EA's been a great. I like trading EA to the upside, not so much to the downside. However, maybe check back on Monday, guys. On Monday, when we do get that full third day of volume in the markets, and see what you can do here. If I were to trade one of these, I would probably for the month of July, since it's typically so bullish, I'd probably use it as an out of the money hedge where the stock may need to move a lot, like here on EA. If I were to do EA, which I'm not, it has to fall about 3% this month. And if it does, I would make 400% return on investment. Let me just go get ahead and give you guys EA as an example. Make sure earnings are not within that range. I like EA. This is not one personally that I would look to short, but I'll give it to you guys as a version of a hedge here because it does meet our criteria of increasing volume while the price is falling. So you see volume taking higher, prices going down, clearly saying that more bull or bearish transactions are happening. So here for EA, I would buy the 25th of July, 150 put. Make sure you're using puts. And then I would sell the 25th of July, 149 put. Again, this is like a hedge for us. Right now it's trading at 20 cent net debit, which means the max value for this spread is $1. We can sell it, we can buy it for 20 cents, sell it back for $1. That's a 400% return on investment. And in this case, EA would have to fall to about below here. See my crosshairs? It's not like it needs to fall crazy, but if the markets do turn against us, if July isn't as hot as we expected, this can work as a hedge for us and pay out big and hopefully cover some of our losses. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll just go ahead and do 3 of these for fun. I'm just gonna set that 20 debit here, knowing it's bouncing around a bit. And I'll post this one in the chat as well. Now I'm out of breath. Google Doc link doesn't work. Someone says, let me go ahead and take a look. Here's the Google Doc link for the bearish one. Oh, wow, Dalton. Any relation to a Lindman family? I'm not sure. I would have to probably know their names, but that's cool. You can't enter these trades today. I entered them today. Typically, you would wait till Monday just to confirm, but I like them right now. I mean, it's a half day today, so volume's going to be a little bit lighter. But remember, the start of the new quarter, let me show you again, start of the new quarter, which is July, is the best time to be doing this. Best time. That's why I did it. Now, of course, this is recorded. The recording will be in the members portal for you guys to go review. If you want to go watch it Monday, again, the scanner codes, everything will be in there. Here's just a link one more time if you guys want to get that members portal. Good question on how to exit. What I personally do, Kelly, is I like to just let it ride. So if the price goes way above my strikes, I hold